they are kept inside during the winter months, normally until the end of April or even beginning of May next year. But first after the lambs are born in the spring, then the farmers let them out. And during the summertime can we see sheep everywhere, and therefore are these fences along the roads. According to a new survey or new statistic, close to 700,000 sheep in Iceland. So there are more sheep than humans in this country. And it's hard to imagine that the Icelanders would have survived on this barren volcanic island without the sheep. The wool has kept us warm through the centuries, and still today on the Iceland is eating a lot of lamb meat. And some of it is also exported. In addition to sheep and dairy farms, there are also a few big chicken and pig farms in Iceland. Small farmers can produce enough milk and meat for the domestic market. But only in certain areas, like here in this area for instance, in the southern part of the country, are the farmers able to grow some crop on a small scale. Like rye and barley, but most of it is imported in fact. All kind of vegetables, like tomatoes and cucumbers, like I told you earlier, grown in geothermally heated greenhouses. I'm sure that you've noticed the many horses here on the fields, but according to new statistic, close to 80,000 sheep, 80,000 horses in Iceland, and they are all of the same breed. We simply call them Icelandic horses. It's likely that the first settlers brought the horses with them, just like other domestic animals more than 1100 years ago. And there's in fact nothing that indicates that horses have been imported ever since. So for centuries has this breed not interbred with other breeds. There's not much known about the origin of the Icelandic horse, but a DNA research indicates that they seem to be related to the Norwegian fjord horses, which are also strong and sturdy animals, though they're slightly bigger than the Icelandic ones. And the same DNA research indicates that both the Icelandic horses and the Norwegian fjord horses seem to be distant relatives of Mongolian horses by some reason. And as you can see, are these horses not very big. In fact, are they so small that some people call them ponies, which in fact is not very well seen by those who are breeding Icelandic horses. And actually is their average height slightly above the average height of an animal that would be defined as a pony. Despite their size, they're very strong, sturdy animals that can easily carry heavy burdens like grown-up people a long distance. And they're also very sure-footed, so they can easily run across very rough terrain. And they don't mind the cold in the wintertime, because in the autumn they're getting a very thick fur. So most of them are actually staying outside all year round. Only riding horses are regularly used all year round and kept in stables during the wintertime. The others are simply out in the fields. For example, horses that are just used for breeding, or the foals, the young horses up to the age of 4. First when they get 4 years old, then the owners start to train them. The horses used to be working animals in the past, and still today are many farmers using horses to round up their sheep in the autumn. It's an old custom to take some of the 700,000 sheep up to the interior, up to the mountains. In the early summer, the farmers do that mainly in order to get rid of them here from the lowlands, who want to be able to mow their fields. And additionally are some lichens, herbs up in the mountains which the sheep like to eat. And some people say that lamb meat reminds a bit of game because of the fact that the lamb which is born in the spring, which is slaughtered in the autumn, so it's been out in the nature of the mountains during the summer months. And so in September and October, the farmers riding with their sheepdogs, border collies, and Icelandic sheepdogs up to the mountains and round up the sheep. That's enormous work, as you can imagine. And the horses used to be the only mean of transportation of land until cars started to get common, roads were built, which of course was first in the early 20th century. But the railway system has, by the way, never existed in Iceland. But nowadays is horseback riding a very popular sport in Iceland, a real family sport, can I say, and that is the main reason for how many horses there are here nowadays. Some of the farmers are also breeding horses that they are selling, not only in Iceland but also to other countries. But this breed has become popular abroad, mainly because of two reasons. These horses are very tame, they're very easy to handle, good tempered, not too big, so they are ideal horses both for children and beginners. there's also another reason for the popularity of Icelandic horses abroad, and that is the fact that they are capable of 5 different gaits, or ways of running. But in addition to the common walk, trot, and gallop, Icelandic horses are also capable of 2 other gaits. One of them is known as the flying pace. It's very smooth for the rider. If you've been looking at a horse running the flying pace from the distance, then it may appear that it is not touching the ground with its hooves at all. And the 5th gait is known as tölt. It's spelled T-O with an umlaut, L-T, tölt. There's no other word for it. It's a bit difficult for me to explain this 5th gait, the tölt, for you without getting on 4 legs. So I'm in a bit difficult position now to demonstrate the tölt for you. But if we'd be talking about a good horse, then this 5th gait is even smoother for the rider than the flying pace. As an example of that, can I tell you that it is sometimes demonstrated in the horse shows that the riders are riding in circles, holding full pints of beer without spilling a drop. The turtling horse is only touching the ground with 1 hoof at a time, lifting its front legs in a special way. So every year there are many horses exported, and people in other countries are also breeding Icelandic horses. According to some new statistic, probably double as many Icelandic horses abroad as here in Iceland.